Everyone is refreshing Twitter for a Charania bomb, but the truth is already on your TV screen. In the NBA, front offices can keep a secret, but a rotation can't. Today, I'm going to show you guys the 4 specific rotation patterns that prove a trade is already in the works, using the current chaos with Giannis, the Pelicans, and the Kings as our proof. When a healthy player suddenly sits with the designation DNP, coach's decision, or rest, or for general soreness, then you know something's brewing. You don't drive a car you're about to sell into a demolition derby. One road ankle could kill a multi-million-dollar deal. Norman Powell is a prime example of this. Bro is currently not with his team. He's having the best season of his career with the Miami Heat, averaging those points, rebounds, assists. He's in a feature role, and he is primed to be dealt elsewhere. John Morant is another one. He's been inactive 5 straight games with no designation outside of his ankle. Now, I think that's a lot of baloney. He hasn't seen eye to eye with his coaching staff all season long. He's been on record saying as much. So it's not a matter of if he's going to be traded, but when. And buyer beware. Ja has a ton of baggage. Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan are a couple of other guys that are on the block. The Kings are in Western Conference purgatory. Right? We've seen this combination before with the Bulls, didn't win anything. So I don't know why in the world Sacramento would think that this would work in a tougher conference. So those two guys, I think, are on the block as well. Jose Alvarado from New Orleans Pelicans is another candidate. He's healthy, he's cheap, and he's on the block. If he disappears from the rotation from the next game, you'd understand why. Now, let's not forget about the showcase spike. This happens when a bench player who usually plays 12 minutes a night suddenly gets a starting workload and plays 32. Right? Rival GMs want to see if a player can handle a starting load. It's basically a test drive. An example of this is Keon Ellis from the Kings and Malik Monk. If Coach Christie decides to start them over vets, they aren't just finding the rhythm. They're being put in the window for contenders to see. And those guys like that are valuable depth pieces. And what wins in the playoffs? Depth. Right? The Spurs, they've been linked to Goga from the Magic. If he suddenly gets a spot start in Orlando, it's a direct signal to San Antonio. Hey, look, he's ready. San Antonio needs a big man to pair with Wemby. So be on the lookout for that as well. The next time we're going to discuss is the future preview. This happens when a veteran's minutes quietly shrink while a rookie's minutes or a young player's minutes explode. This is post-trade preparation. The team has already decided that they want to move on and see if the kid is ready to take the keys, ready to take the keys to the Lamborghini, see what they can do with it. Right? An example of this, Connor Gillespie. Now, this is a sleeper trade with Devin Booker. He's been in Phoenix his entire career. Hasn't won much of anything. I think the furthest he got his team was the West Finals a few years ago. But that's it. He's not winning the championship there. He's primarily there to sell tickets. And I feel like at this point, he's definitely overstayed his welcome. Right? So on the flip side, you got Connor Gillespie, a rookie, had a monster game the other night. I think he had like 30 and 10. Monster game. Right? That's the guy that you can build around. He's cheap. And you can get some pieces for Booker. There's some teams that could use a star like Booker. He's not a superstar. He's a star. Blazers are on the clock as well. They've got a wealth of forwards. Sissoko, Kamara, Denny, Chris Murray's waiting in the wings. Trade Jeremy Grant. They're currently 10th in the West with a 23 and 28 record. They're not going anywhere. They're not winning anything. they could make the play in, and if you make the play in and you're hot, anything could happen. But Jeremy Grant is a one-trick pony. Get rid of him, get what you can, free up some space for Giannis. Yeah, hint, hint. Get him over there, play with Lillard. Another guy I think who is secretly on the block could be Scoot Henderson. That's something to keep an eye on as well. He just came back, you know, right before the trade deadline. I feel like that's a bit of a showcase for him, for other teams that could be in use of his services. So that's one other guy to keep an eye on. New Orleans, they have Carlo Matkovich waiting behind the wings of Zion. Now, we all know what Zion is. He's not a generational talent like he was billed coming out of Duke. He's just another guy, a jag. He's just another guy. Just another guy that gets hurt, that can't stay healthy, underperforms. Let's see what Carlo can do. Get Zion out of there. And I think that's one of the worst kept secrets. The Pelicans are looking to ship him out of there. It's horrible tenure. Waste of $180 million, how much ever they paid him. Right? They're just throwing money at these guys, and they're not dependable. The next time you guys watch a game, don't just look at the score. Look at who is closing the third quarter. Look at who is mysteriously wearing a suit on the bench. The trades are happening in plain sight. You just have to know where to look. I'm Devon. That's my turbo take. Subscribe if you're new. Smash that like button. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.